It's here. I've been waiting for this moment for way too long. The Pocket Operator Knockout is finally at my local store, Perfect Circuit Audio. If you're in Burbank or LA, check it out. A little shout out, shop small if you can. But they finally got it in. I got a text today from my friend who works there. Clearly I'm there way too often. And yeah, let's go pick it up. I gotta check this thing out. Alright, man, that sun went down quick. But we're here. We made it. Let's go buy this thing. Excuse me, sir, do you have any more Pocket Operator knockouts? Brandon. Yes, sir. Later, Trevor.
See ya.
It's finally here. Let's get into it. This is honestly probably one of the few products that I've been waiting for since the announcement at NAMM. There's a bunch of products that were listed, but this is probably one of my favorite things on that list. Reason being, it's a sampler. I mean, this thing is so awesome. This thing is so awesome.
This thing is so awesome.
This thing is so awesome.
I mean, you just can't beat that. But anyway, let's get into some of the details about this thing and how it kind of works. All right, the Pocket Operator Knockout. Probably one of the world's smallest samplers that is super feature packed. The cool thing about this is you have two different sample types. Basically, you can record samples into the 8 melodic sections, marked by this right here, or you can record samples into one of the 8 drum sample engines down here. They work completely different. If you were to record a sample into the melodic section, you will then be able to play that sample chromatically, basically different notes or different pitches across the 16 buttons or pads. If you were to record that same sample down into the drum section, one of these 8 down here, 9 through 16, it will then take that sample, find the loudest points in the audio, and cut that across the 16 pads itself. So it'll find like 16 slices within that one sample. But what that means is that you have 8 of those. So technically, you have 16 sounds within each of these pads down here, but only a single sound within these 8 pads up here. They are named pretty accordingly. You would want to put a lot of drums down here just because it'll find the kick, the hi-hat, the clap, or whatever it might be, and put that on its own pad. We'll get into this a little bit later. But with all that nonsense aside, let's go find some samples for this thing. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the Pocket Operator itself, because to me, this is probably one of the best looking pocket operators out there. Roll it. Alright, so I brought out the octave track just because I have a collection of samples in here that I've slowly, I guess, collected over time. Let's see what we can find in here. Oh, I like that one. Let's try this. So I'm going to hit record and then press the sound where I want to record to. While holding it, you'll see that nothing happens. And as soon as I trigger it, the sound will start coming in and recording. Boom, done. So now I should. My my God. So far, so good. Let's move on to the next thing. So now I'm going to try to find a bass line and a lead line from the Oberheim expander, this wild beast of a synth. So I found this guy here. Let me turn this up a little bit. That could work. I'm down with that. So I'm going to hit record, hold down what sound I want to record on, in this case 2. Press the note. Bam, you'll see it coming in. Easy. Done. Now let's try to find a bass line. The cool thing about the pocket operator is that you'll notice with anything plugged in, you're always going to hear it. So it's always monitoring whatever signal's coming in. So let's see. Well, that might work. Let's go down. Yeah, I'm down with that. Turn the volume up. Cool. So record. Press number 3. Easy. Let's check that out. Oh, that is dirty. I'm down with that one. Cool. Let's move on to the next thing. All right. So now I'm going to take some sounds out of the MPC 60 and put them into the pocket operator. I'm going to be utilizing the 8 drum tracks down below. And there's a couple different ways of how these react when receiving a recorded signal. We can either hold down record and then select one of the 8 banks down below. And while we're holding down record, hit a ton of samples off the 60 and have it auto detect the transients in the waveform that was recorded, or basically the peaks of where the sound comes in, and it'll auto slice that to one of the 16 buttons. Or if you wanted to be a little bit more precise with this, you can just hold down record, hit a pad, and record a single drum hit there. That way it lives in its own sequencer track. Because if you record everything to one bank, you're going to have to sequence basically kicks, hi-hats, and claps as single hits at a time. They cannot overlap each other because it'll choke the other voice out. So with that being said, let's try the former, and I'm going to just hold down record, hold down a bank, and record a bunch of sounds. Select a bank, number 14, and try this. Then end recording. So let's see where those are placed. There's the kick, the clap, the hi-hat. You can hear that it kind of caught a little end of it there. That might be some ground noise. Sorry, my machines are so old. And there's the last hi-hat. So we have the kick, the clap, the hat, and the other hat. Cool. All right, let's go try and make a track. Real quick before we get too far ahead of ourselves, earlier when I mentioned that you can record multiple drum sounds into a single bank and then play them back, but they will choke each other or act as a single voice. What I meant by that is if I hit sound and I go to the bank that we just recorded on, which was 14, right? You can see we're on bank 14 there. And we listen for our sounds. We have the kick here, the clap, the hat, and another hat. I can select a sound within this bank and hit record, and you'll see the little record button show up in the top. I'll hit play and I'll put some notes down. So now let's say I wanted to add a clap right here. I would have to get out of record, find that clap sound. So now that I have this sound selected, I hit right and I have to press over this hi-hat and press it again. And you can hear that it's either the clap or the hi-hat playing. They cannot play together. So then if I were to exit record mode and find the kick drum, right? We hit record, and I can throw some of these in. The cool thing is it'll show you where you already have some sound, so I can go and find some spots in between. That's cool. Cool, let's leave it at that. You know what? That drum beat ain't half bad. Let's take another listen to it. Yeah, I could get down to this. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hit the record button to turn the record mode off. It's right there next to the KO sign, and now it's gone. So what I'm going to do next is hold down sound and press pad 1. This has selected pad 1. And what is on pad 1, which is a melodic pad, is the original sample that we took out of the octave track. And because it's on pad 1, a melodic pad, it's going to allow us to play this back chromatically across the 16 buttons, like this. Right? So if I wanted to record something like that in, you just hold down the right button and play it in. So check this out. right? Let's say you messed up. I don't like that last one. I want it to be a little bit more sloppy. I'm gonna just tap it to get rid of it, and this one will play all the way through. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I'll leave it at that. Let's do that. So next I'm gonna hold down sound and select pad 3. Turning record mode off. It's the bass note from the Oberheim. Oh, it's a little quiet. So to change the volume of this, I'm gonna hit effects until we get to the TON or tone. There it is. Turning the right knob or knob B, it'll raise the volume. So I'm gonna press play and play it with everything so we can hear how loud it actually is. That's cool. So again, just hold down right and play some notes in. Don't like that? Hold down or press right and take those notes out. Pressing right again, play some new notes in. I can get down with that. Hold down sound, pressing pad 2. This is going to be the whine sound we took out of the Oberheim. So check this. I'm just playing it in manually right now. But if I wanted to, just hold down right and hit it in. Now it'll loop for me. Easy. Then just start having some fun with it. Hold down effects and see what it's got. Man. So let's say this pattern ain't half bad and you want to keep it and maybe make it longer. It's really simple. Holding down the right button and then pressing pattern, it'll show you what pattern you're currently on and where you can paste it to. So we're on pattern 15, let's paste it to 16 just by tapping it. So now if we press play, you can hear pattern 16 is exactly the same as the previous pattern. But where this is cool is we can go and add some more notes or take some out or change up things. So let's go to sound, select pad 3, which is going to be the bass notes from the Oberheim. Maybe I like that. Hold down right. Cool. Now let's go to that drum sound, pad 14, and find the clap. There it is. Let's add one at the end. Easy. So check this out. If I hold down pattern, press pattern 15, and then 16, this is going to tie those two patterns together. So watch this. I'm going to press play. God damn. Okay. Then you just go and have some fun with it. Or let's change the filter of the sound 1. So sound, hit pad 1, hit effects until we get to the filter. Right there. Holding down the right button and turning the right knob to the left lets us access the low pass filter. Turning it to the right lets us access the high pass filter. Where this is cool is you can actually record the automation. Then let it go. Bam, doing it by itself. And then start doing effects on top of that. Or let's go to sound 3 and do the same thing to the bass line, but just leave it down permanently. So again, hitting effects to get to filter, holding down the right. I can just turn it there and make sure to hold down right for a full pattern length, in this case 2 pattern lengths, to write that data in. So basically it's recording our automation of us moving that. So if we're not moving it, it'll leave it there for the full 16 or 32 in this case. Man, I can get used to this. Let's go to pad 2, go back to tone, hold down right, turn down the volume, kind of fade it out. Leave it up there all crazy and let it go. Alright, so I hope this video helps. As always, leave a like down below if it did. It would be a big help to me as well as the channel. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down and let me know in the comments down below how I can make these videos better for you to enjoy. As always, you can follow me on my Instagram where I post a lot of videos similar to this, except in my other studio with a lot of other gear. And there might be a piece of gear in there that you want to see a video on, so hit me up on Instagram and let me know about it. But as always, you guys know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.